Good morning, ladies. We have our next 2 chapters up this morning in the 5-second rule review by Mel Robbins. I thought I would bring together to you chapters 2 and 3. Feel free to follow along at your own pace. The purpose of these video reviews is just to bring to light and to continue a conversation some of the most important parts and concepts and themes of this book. So chapter 2 is all about how she discovered the 5-second rule. And then chapter 3 is what you can expect when you would use it. So here's what I found interesting and meaningful to me as I read through these chapters. Habit change is hard. And I know that there's some ladies in this group who are struggling with feeling like they don't have motivation, maybe negative self-talk, maybe looking in the rearview mirror, getting overwhelmed by the changes and the courage and the strength that it's going to take to move forward. We know what we need to do to move, but at that moment of the decision that we need to make, we feel frozen. And it really is these simple things, right? Getting out of bed, making a better food choice, making the bed, preparing your meals, not going through the drive-thru, putting the Oreo cookie down. It is the simple things that are so hard to do. And I think in some small way that makes me feel a little better, like I'm not the only one who struggles with these small things. The other thing I think that was important is the concept that our brain is super powerful and we just think too much. We think too much. And she talks in chapter 2 about how she discovered the rule, being frustrated in her own life, really in a negative spiral. I mean, she was going down. Life was hard and she was not on the success curve of life. And knowing what she needed to do, feeling frustrated. So one night she describes watching a rocket launch and hearing that countdown, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and launched. And it was in that moment that she followed her instinct, which she talks about as being a powerful tool, to launch herself out of bed the next morning. And so the message really of chapter 2 was one of to follow your instinct, because if you don't physically move into an action, your brain will stop you because you will think too much. So follow your instincts. Follow your gut. That was the message of chapter 2. And then chapter 3, she kind of reviews. I love the science part. When anybody talks about habit change in the brain and the prefrontal cortex, that's just my science nerd in me coming out. So I'm going to enjoy when she talks about that. Chapter 3, she talks about what you can expect when you use it. Because the truth is habit change is hard on a basic level. And then the reason that this rule can work so well is because it gives you a starting ritual, she calls it. It's an action that interrupts your autopilot, which is the problem with our habits. So many of them are on autopilot. So this is a starting ritual that allows us to move, because really we're holding ourselves back. We are holding our own selves back. The other thing that is so valuable about this rule is that it gives us what she calls a locus of control. So she describes, and I do believe truly also, that motivation is a myth. You may have motivation throughout the day at certain times, but if you're talking about like getting out of bed, you may have motivation to wake up early the night before you go to bed, but at the time that alarm goes off, you don't have the motivation. It's a myth. When you're hungry and tired and crabby, you don't have the motivation to make a better food choice. So this rule kind of refocuses you and gives you this locus of control that will help strengthen your confidence and your courage that you have power to change, because it puts you into motion. You have to act. And the more you do it over and over and over, it actually strengthens the new habit, and it will actually kind of set your behavior into where you want to go on the right path. just because you have the rule doesn't mean that what you need to do is going to be easy. Habit change is still hard, but it helps you get up and move, and it gives you a tool that will strengthen your confidence. I love the connection between this and the slight edge. And the longer I've been doing personal development, when you start hearing the different leaders say the same thing in a different way, it just makes you know it and believe it to be true and to be valuable. It is the small things that we do every day or don't do that make the biggest impact on our life. So getting out of bed, preparing your meals, making a commitment to read 10 pages of a good book a day. It's those simple things, to do 10 minutes of exercise in the morning, to balance your checkbook, to be nice to your husband, to pause before you yell at your kids. It's those small things that truly do make a difference and put you on the success curve of life. And this tool is very exciting to start to use it. I'm hoping to hear more examples from all of us as this chapter and this book goes on about how we are using this rule to harness our inner courage and power and to make some new healthy habits stick. So there is chapter 3 and chapter 4. Any questions? Feel free to leave them in the comments section below, and keep on reading, ladies.